Okay, it's time to break out the red hat again. I think it's quite appropriate during a review of CyberFrog-Blood, honey. Hello, guys. It's your buddy Rorschach here. Right, get yourself a cup of coffee. Put your feet up. And if you've got a copy of CyberFrog, pick it up and let's have a read along with Rorschach. Because I want to give this a long and detailed review, right? It's not just going to be like, the point and click with the camera one. I want to go through everything in this book. So I might be here for, 20, 30 minutes. We'll see how it goes. Right then, so we've been waiting a long time for this, haven't we? I think people have been getting a little bit restless. You can see, you can actually see why there's a delay, because Ethan Van Sciver's got a YouTube career and he works very, very hard on YouTube. A lot of content, most of it really good. Lots of live streams as well, and he's created a community around himself, hasn't he? Like Owen Benjamin has really, and it's got its own lexicon. Talking about, what does he talk about? Owen Benjamin. It's bears. It's little hats, moon landing, and with Ethan Van Sciver, it's the pie thing, isn't it? He does enjoy his pies apparently. I've noticed that, and I'm sure there's lots of other little in jokes, right, which I'm blanking on at the moment. But he has created a community around himself, offering a safe space for people who feel like they haven't got any real community IRL in real life, right? A bit sad, really, isn't it? That the only community we can find today is online, typing away to people who we will never meet. It's very sad, but it says a lot about the destruction of our white Western communities today. So he's created his own little space on YouTube, well, a big space, and he's got a big audience, does Ethan. So I was quite surprised to see one night at work on my phone during break time that he was talking about me. I am still not sure whether he was slagging me off or saying nice things about me. It couldn't have been all negative though, because I got a massive increase in subscribers after he talked about me. So why haven't you gone back and watched the show where he was talking about you, Rorschach? I find myself kind of boring. I don't like to talk about myself, and I don't like to see other people wasting their time talking about me either. I couldn't think of anything more uninteresting than somebody else talking about me. It's like, why are you even bothering? So I don't know. Maybe it goes back to childhood or something, but yeah, just to see people talking about me, nah. I'm not gonna watch. But I do appreciate it, Ethan. Appreciate it very much that you talked about me and my subscriber numbers went up, because obviously living in the UK today, I'm somewhat marginalised. Look at me. I've got the wrong kind of opinions. I've got the wrong gender, and I've got the wrong pigmentation in the skin. All the things that I've got in the UK today are the things that are going to have you pushed into a corner and ignored, and perhaps monitored, just to make sure you're not, getting too big or causing trouble. And it's the same on Google, on YouTube, as it is in the UK today. They don't want to promote people like me, the truly marginalised people in the world today, right? So my channel gets buried by those algorithms, right? So not many people are finding my channel, and it's always been the case from the very beginning, right? So having Ethan Van Sciver just talking about my channel for one of his live streams, was it a live stream? Something that I'm always going to be massively grateful for. So there's a lot of goodwill. I have got a lot of goodwill for Ethan Van Sciver for talking about me, right, and helping out my little channel. And what am I like with Ethan Van Sciver today? After about a year and a half after the boost to my channel. Well, I'm not in communication with him. He's a very busy man. Why would he want to talk to me? Do I watch his channel? I watch some of the videos every now and then, but I'm not going to be watching like a 2.5 hour Comicsgate, live stream. I'll dip in and out. That's what I do with Ethan today. So this book, CyberFrog, then, it's obviously something that I purchased. Was that over a year ago, for two reasons then. Number one, to thank Ethan for mentioning my channel, and number two, because he's a great artist. I really enjoyed his stuff on Green Lantern when he was still working in DC. I'm not going to be buying a lot of these Comicsgate books. I think I've got Red Rooster coming as well, but I live in the UK and the cost of postage is exorbitant. It's ridiculous. Must be over $10 to get this book posted over to the UK, and it's not a cheap book anyway. So I'm spending, it must be 20 quid for a comic book, which I could get for about 7 or 8 quid in my local comic book store, right? But it's a little bit different, obviously, because Ethan Van Sciver is a Republican, right? He's a conservative. He's a man who wears the red hat. Does he wear the red hat? But metaphorically, he wears the red hat. And there's a moment in this book here, you see that? Where this female character is wearing red, and she says this: always wear red. They can't see us when we wear red. We're invisible to them. Well, that certainly resonates with me, because I'm invisible to my government, to all the institutions. Look at Brexit. Not happening. They want people like me to go away. We haven't got the right cosmopolitan, opinions about the world. So there's 3 things really, isn't there? 3 reasons why I purchased this book. There's because I'm grateful, because I admire Ethan Van Sciver as an artist, and also because the politics are offering something different to what I get in my local comic book store. So I've read the book. Read it last night. I read it again this morning, and I guess it's now my time to review the book. That's a lot of baggage. That's coming with a review, right? That's a lot of baggage. So you probably wouldn't expect me to slag it off, even if it was really, really awful, would you? Because why, after all, would I want to say something bad about a guy who helped me out, a guy who I admire, and a guy who's got not identical politics to me. Trump hasn't exactly done everything that I thought he would, but a guy who's on similar wavelength, to myself, politically speaking. So yeah, why would I want to slag that man off if he produced the worst comic book in all of comic book history? You'd probably expect somebody like me to shower it with praise and try to make the best of it. It'd be like your mum spending all day baking some cakes and they're slightly burnt, but you eat them and you go, great mum, I'll have another one, because you don't want to upset her feeling, because she's your mum, she's been working hard, etc. Does the metaphor hold? Yeah, kind of. So let's do a review then of CyberFrog-Blood Honey, and try to be honest here. Try to be honest. I used to pride myself on being 100% honest to everybody, but look where it's got me in life. It's sad to say, but kindness in these times, and I don't know if it was always the same back in the 1920s. But the kinder you are, the more you're going to be exploited. Really, that's how it's going today. Anyway, let's do a kind review of CyberFrog. Right, the cover makes it stand out, but it also makes it a little bit difficult to read, because the cover is very heavy, right, and the pages inside are very, very, very thin. But it is a very nice looking cover, and if that was on the comic book stands, it would certainly, stand out. People would look at it. But I don't think Mr. Fanskyver is going to be, invited into the comic book store for obvious reasons, is he? Okay, so if you've got a copy of your book, open it up and let's begin. Right. It begins with a mummy, an alien mummy, coming to Earth. She's a female with a cybernetic womb. We don't know that much about Mummy, but she looks mighty fine. Of course she does, because this is art by Ethan Fanskyver. And Mummy, for some strange reason, wants to protect Earth. And I'm not sure why she wants to protect Earth. Why she would care. Why would an alien race care about us? It's not really established. I think she says, let's see if I can find a panel here where she talks about humanity. Humanity may be flawed, but they have limitless potential for good. You may even grow to love them. Okay. It's kind of thin, the reasons why this alien would care about humanity and why she'd want to protect them. But when I was reading this last night, this panel made me laugh. This is the birth of CyberFrog, and Mummy speaking to you, and Mummy says, basically we came to Earth. We wanted to find some men and create like a super warrior who would save your planet. But they didn't find any blokes because they landed in the middle of the swamp and they found a frog instead. It was not the outcome that was hoped for. That made me giggle. So we've got a cybernetic frog. He's born an adult and told, I'm your mummy. Your mummy loves you. Now go out into the world and save humanity. It's a little bit thin. Perhaps I don't know. It needs a little bit more narrative fleshing out. Character-wise. I don't know anything about the frog. The frog doesn't know anything about the frog. He just knows that Mummy wants him to protect these people. Okay, I'll do what Mummy says. Yeah, serving Mummy is a bit of a theme of the Democratic Party, the big welfare state in the US and Europe today, isn't it? Real serving Mummy, aren't we? What do the NFL players say as soon as they get signed? I'm going to buy my mummy a house. Why couldn't your mummy afford a house before? She's a single mummy. So this alien is a single mummy. There's no dad. CyberFrog doesn't have a dad. So it's very lefty, isn't it? But he does have a brother. And his brother is called... I've got a card here. Salamandroid, is it? Yes, Salamandroid. And you can see why this comic book took Ethan a long time to produce, because every page looks absolutely glorious. The detail is stunning. Just a pity really that there isn't enough character development there. All the work has been obviously concentrated upon the artwork, and the story seems truncated, seems a little bit condensed, a little bit squished, So Salamandroid is the brother of CyberFrog, and he's told by Mummy that you have to protect your brother, clear his path, help him to succeed, even at the cost of your own life. Why? Is this understood? Salamandroid says, "You are my mother." Mummy says, "Yes." He says, "I love you." Okay, I'll do it. So you've got these two characters. I'll show you the cards I got with the book. You've got the frog and a Salamandroid, right? And they're just serving a mommy. They're not critical thinkers, really. They're not saying to mommy, CyberFrog's not saying, why am I helping these people? And Salamandroid is not saying, why have I got to serve my brother? Why can't I do my own thing? You see, Salamandroid, and it says on the back of the cards here, is 11'9" and 2 tons. Quite a formidable warrior, right? What about CyberFrog? 5'6", 200 pounds. Why is he the protector of humanity? A little frog who weighs 200 pounds, so he's quite, beefy. I'm sure he can bench the press. And so why is he the saviour when this thing, which is obviously much more fearsome, weighing 2 tons and being 11'9", is just hanging out in the background as a helper? None of it's explained. It's just it just is, right? So that's the beginning of the book. It's a little bit thin, I don't know that much about Mummy. I don't know much about Home Planet. I don't know why there isn't a dad. Is it just because you don't need dads in the future? Yay! It's a lefty future. No dads needed. Just like Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. So yeah, that's it. That's the beginning of the book. We got these two strange creatures coming to Earth to protect us. Don't know why. So CyberFrog is doing this for a bit, and then he starts to feel like these buggers aren't feeling very grateful. And I was thinking to myself, right, because this is written by Ethan Van Sciver, he doesn't normally write comic books, but he's the artist, isn't he? I'm thinking, this to me, and I don't know if he's tapping into this on purpose, seems to me like CyberFrog is Ethan Van Sciver. Ethan Van Sciver is in the comic book industry, and he's doing his thing, but he's not appreciated, right? And he starts to feel, why am I here? Why am I working for DC Comics? I'm starting to not enjoy protecting these people anymore. Not enjoy not enjoy working in the comic book industry, right? But then a plot device turns up, and everything changes for Ethan CyberFrog. So why is he going to continue doing what he does? Because he doesn't appear to be getting anything out of it, and no one's appreciating him for it. Well, this angelic life form pops up, and her name is Heather Swain, and she's walking through a cemetery late at night, as you do, and she's getting potentially Me Too'd by this emo guy. CyberFrog rescues her, and all of a sudden they are friends, and so they meet there, and 2 panels later, CyberFrog is saying, "As long as I breathe, I'll look out for you. By the way, what's your name?" So he's white knighted for this girl, and now there's a lifelong commitment. I don't think it's romantic. He just gets a little stroke under the chin there. It's very beta, isn't it? It's very beta male behaviour. And I remember about 25 years ago, walking through Swindon Town Centre late at night. I think I'd just come out of a nightclub, and thankfully I wasn't drunk. I was, of course, very disappointed because, well, nightclubs. And there was a guy and girl arguing in the middle of the town centre. And the girl was on the floor, and she was crying, and she looked in great distress. And I thought to myself, because I was stupid then, Should I CyberFrog it? Should I White Knight for her? Shall I say, Mom, what's the matter? She's like riding on my on my white horse, right? Is the horse white? I don't know. Should I help her? I was umming and ahhing when somebody else came in. Somebody else white knighted for this damsel in distress. And do you know what happened to him? Not only did the bloke turn on him, but more viciously and violently, the girl he was trying to save turned on him as well. How dare you! She basically turned into Greta Thunberg before Greta was born. She was so angry, so furious, so violent, not towards the man who was shouting and screaming at her, and I think he was actually dragging her as well at one stage, like, get up sort of thing. No, she was angry and violent towards the man who was trying to White Knight CyberFrog for her. The ladies don't appreciate the White Knighting thing. So if I ever saw, sad to say, a lady in that kind of situation again, I would just walk on by, because I wouldn't want Heather Swain herself to come after me. It's a weird dynamic that people have in their relationships, but in this comic book it works out like it doesn't really work out in reality. The lady, Heather Swain, is massively grateful, and they've got a lifelong connection. Okay. Right. So we don't know anything really about CyberFrog, because he was born as an adult and he's just obeying Mommy, like his brother. What about Heather Swain? What do we know about Heather Swain? Well, her dad is dead. It's a theme in the book, lack of dads. And her mother brought a violent, physical, abusive man into their home, so she's got a bad mum, and she's a little bit depressed. Okay, so she's basically a lady who needs a good man in her life. But what qualities does she bring to the equation here? Well, she gets him some chicken, some fried chicken, and she gets a tattoo of him on her back. So she marks his skin and gets him chicken, and then just kind of hangs out with him in his pad, and in exchange he sort of stalks her around town as a protector. Like that old Tom and Jerry cartoon where the mouse had a whistle, and whenever he whistled the bulldog would pop up. Is it Spike? And he Bob, the cat on the head. That's what it's like to me. Okay, so I don't know. There's something not natural about the relationship, and it's very thin, And I'm thinking at this point in the story that Ethan Van Sciver really could have done with a writer to beef up his story, because the characters are two-dimensional and it does seem very, very short, and all of a sudden it ends. It's like, what? That was part one? That's not a comic book. That's a sketch. It's a beautifully drawn sketch, the artwork, but the story itself is a sketch. Could have done with a writer, right? And part one should be the entire book, where you can flesh things out a little bit. But no, we go into part two. So what actually happened at the end of part one? Well, Mommy's saying, we failed you, I failed you, which ties into the beginning. But I don't know anything about Mommy, and I don't care about Mommy, and I don't really care about CyberFrog that much, and I don't care about Heather Swain that much, because I haven't got the information to care about them. I don't even know what kind of personality Heather Swain has got, apart from that she likes to buy chicken for a frog, and that she's got a bad dad. Or sorry, her dad is dead, and her stepdad is bad. So it's just not enough there for me to care. Right. So what happens in part two? Well, we go to the 1990s, and Bill Clinton is popping up. Remember Bill, the impeachment and stuff? It seems like a lifetime ago now. So to read a new comic today with Bill Clinton in it, it's like, Who cares really? Anyway, so we're set in the 1990s. We're back in the swamp, and the artwork again looks absolutely fantastic, and you can see that. Look at that. Ethan has spent a lot of time here on the art, but I haven't got any problems with the art. It's the story that's obviously the issue. Oh, we're in 1998. Okay, so that's useful. And they're just hanging out in, I guess, the Frog's apartment, watching the impeachment of Bill Clinton. There he is. There's Bill. How's he doing today? And she's wearing a Tool t-shirt. And his brother pops up. Remember his brother? And says, there's some bad guys attacking. We need to do something about it. So off they go to fight the bad guys. And again, the artwork is out of this world. But there's barely a story there. Barely a story. Let's get to the end. There's mention of a character called Rumblebee. I don't know who Rumblebee is, but he is mentioned a lot. Maybe that character, Rumblebee, should have been introduced early on as well. And it appears that at the end of, part 2 is coming to an end already, that CyberFrog has been defeated by, I guess it's the swarm, all these hornets, and he's now going into hibernation, and I think his mummy is defeated as well, so they're all sort of sinking to the bottom of the swamp. Now that was a bit of a rush job, wasn't it, part 2? And if you think that part 2 was a rush job, part 3, which was actually probably the best part of the book, it's probably about 10 pages. Let's see what part 3 is. I did enjoy it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages. So part 3 is it's 9 pages, and I enjoyed it. But it was an introduction to a story, which just then ends. So what happens in part 3? Well, CyberFrog comes back from the bottom of the swamp. He's been rebooted. That panel there in particular is absolutely glorious, and he's saying to himself, what's happened to the world? And again, I'm going back to what I was thinking early on, that this is Ethan Van Sciver looking at the comic book industry as it is today, and the comic book industry in many ways is analogous to what's happening in the Western world. We have been taken over by crazy people. I don't like to use the term social justice warrior, because it's a little bit deeper than that, but we have been taken over by a swarm of insects who are just going to suck all the resources dry. They're going to kill us all. They're going to kill the comic book industry, the movie industry, academia, the judiciary, everything. You can see it in the UK actually at the moment. Our House of Parliament is controlled by the swarm, basically. So his number one concern is where's Heather? Where's that girl who bought chicken for me and tickled me under my chin? Where is she? And here she is, right? That's actually her daughter. She's a little bit older, but she's still looking pretty hot. And just like a mummy before her, there doesn't appear to be a husband or a daddy in a picture for to look after the kid. Where is Daddy? Is Daddy mentioned? I think he is. I don't want to get this wrong. I think the Daddy's mentioned. My dad wasn't wearing red, so yeah, the insinuation is that the dad was killed by the swarm. So it's more single mummy stuff, isn't it? And yeah, the kid is not a boy. The kid is a girl. So it's I don't know if it's just the time period that we're living in, but why can't we write a story about a strong family unit with daddy, heading it up? Maybe in Cyberfrog's case, they can't really do that because if Heather had a husband, protector, and provider in her life, what would Cyberfrog do? You know, he'd have to go back to the swamp and find some attractive lady frog to bother instead, wouldn't he? And that's the end. But I was enjoying the part 3 because it seems more contemporary. The allusion to the red there. That if you're wearing red, you're invisible to them. That the world has gone to shite. And with the CyberFrog is back, it seemed, oh yay, kind of cool. But then that's the end of it. This would work a lot better, right, if Ethan Van Sciver was publishing an indie book for Dynamite, IDW, or someone. I don't know if anyone of those publishing houses would have him now, because of the politics, and releasing the book, like this every 3 weeks or so. Not written by him, written by a comic book writer, and he can do the artwork, and you don't need, lots of pages like this, just occasional pages like this, and smaller panels as well. I think that'd be a great read, but after reading this, my immediate thought was, well, this is a comic book produced by an artist, not a writer, and he really needed to get a writer on board to help him out. I'll give you one example of this, right? Salamandroid is taken down, I think, right? I think he is. But when he's taken down, it doesn't seem like like it's a big deal to CyberFrog. Sal, I can't see him. They swarmed, took him out first. They're smart. Oh no, my brother has been taken out. They're smart. The swarm are smart. And this is a panel where he's taken out. A tiny little panel. When you've got huge panels, I'll just give you an example, where nothing really happens. It's just a panel that kind of looks cool. Like now, this panel here. That looks really cool, doesn't it? Salamandroid with a car and stuff. But surely it was a more important part of the narrative when Salamandroid was killed or taken down. But the part when he's taken down is tiny in comparison to that part when he's just... There you go. That's the part where he's taken down. That little panel there. Yeah, it's tiny in comparison to just a panel before where he's just, flipping a car upside down. So yeah, he needed a writer to help him out on this book. So let's see if I can sum up my reaction to it then. Is it a terrible comic book, and is it a waste of money? No, of course it's not. It's an Ethan Van Sciver book, but it does come across more like an art pamphlet rather than a proper comic book. It looks great, but the story itself is far too condensed. The characters are kind of paper thin. You don't really know enough about them to care about them, and it feels like he's rushing through, and he's obviously way more interested in the artwork than the story, which is what you'd expect, from an artist. If I picked this up in a comic book store, I'll be saying the same thing now. I'll be saying, wow, that Ethan Van Sciver, that new artist Ethan Van Sciver, certainly got a lot of talent. What he needs to do is get himself a good writer, work together, and they're going to produce some excellent stuff. But this will be then like a good introduction to his artwork, like a showcase really, where DC and Marvel will be looking at it and going, wow, this is fantastic. Maybe you can get him to work with Tom King, or something like that. And that's the problem today, of course, isn't it? And lots of the writers are are cucked beta male lefties. But you know, again, the theme of single moms and white knights in this book is kind of, you know, kind of beta as well. Yeah, the writers, their politics on the surface level are not compatible with Ethan Fanskyver and his metaphorical red hat. So that's what I made of the book, right? Not disappointed. I enjoyed looking at it. I just hope that he recognises the weaknesses, and he shouldn't really be writing a comic book. It is a suggestion, and the video's gone on for far too long now. How about he gets together with Richard C. Meyer? Richard C. Meyer is fantastic with the male dynamics in this story, and obviously he's, you know, very verbally speaking, he's up there is Richard C. Meyer. He's definitely got a big old processor, a Soph level processor on his shoulders. So perhaps if Richard C. Meyer was working with Ethan Fanskyver on the artwork and giving suggestions every now and then, and Richard doing the story, that would be a top quality comic book, something to get really excited about. This it looks like a top quality comic book, but it's not a top quality comic book. Okay, that's my thoughts on CyberFrog-Blood Honey. Taking a bit of a risk here. I was brutally honest in that review, wasn't I? So as I wrap up the video, I just want to say, if you're watching, Ethan, thank you for everything that you've done for my channel. Thank you for mentioning me. I'll be forever in your debt for that. Hopefully you can take some of the criticisms on this video and use them to create a better product in the future. If that doesn't sound too condescending, hopefully it doesn't. It's just my opinion, you know, from a guy who reads a lot of comic books. Okay guys, that's it for me for the time being then. Thanks for checking me out. Please like and subscribe. My subscriber rate is going to go down to 200, isn't it, after this video? Oh well. Got to take some risks in life, haven't you? Yeah, please like and subscribe if you'd be so kind. Cheers, take care, and I'll catch you all later.